All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er video, little mojo video on 49ers Rams, a little preview. And of course, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out in Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. And this video is also brought to you by Mojo Fantasy. I'm loving working with Mojo Fantasy. Check that link in the description. Use the promo code Krug, K-R-U-E-G, and they will match you up to your first $100. All right, let's talk a little bit about the final game of the regular season for the 49ers. The Niners and the Rams at Levi Stadium, Week 18. And it should be a good one, though we're not going to see Brock Purdy and we're not going to see Matthew Stafford. And let's get right into, the real debate in Ninerland right now is rest versus rust. Kyle Shanahan has said he is opting to sit Brock Purdy in Week 18, so he'll be off from December 31st until at least January 20th, maybe January the 21st. Steve Young says he's concerned about that much rest for Purdy. Will he get rusty? Will he get out of rhythm? Brock Purdy made a Pro Bowl this year. He was the NFL's leading vote getter, led the Niners to a 12-4 season, throwing for 4,280 yards, 31 touchdowns, 11 picks, 69.4% completion percentage, and a 113 quarterback rating. And now he's going to have 3 weeks off. Now, how much time off is too much time off? We're going to find out. I mean, the time will heal some bumps and bruises for sure. He played well in Week 1 in Pittsburgh, off the bye week at the end of the preseason. He played really well in Jacksonville coming off the bye week in the regular season. I just look at it like, hey, man, the guy played 12 to 13 games per season in college. He's already played 18 games this year. He's going to play in 21 if the Niners reach the Super Bowl. The most passes he's ever attempted in the season is like 475. He's at 460 right now. Shanahan feels he wants to rest him. I think it's probably the right move. It all comes down to what can you live with and what can't you live with. But as far as this game, let's talk a little bit about the Niners and the Rams and preview this thing. I'm really eager to see what this game looks like on a lot of fronts. One, the 49ers are a 4-point favorite. The over-under is 41 points. The Rams have already clinched a playoff berth themselves. They're either going to be a 6 seed or a 7 seed. For the 49ers, sitting today in the Week 18 game, Brock Purdy will not play. Christian McCaffrey will not play. Eric Armstead's not going to play. Ambry Thomas is not going to play. Jair Brown not going to play. Ross Dwelley was put on the IR, so his season is done. He's not playing. Tayshaun Gibson's not going to play. Juwan Jennings isn't going to play. Sadly, Jason Verrett, who tore his rotator cuff at practice this week, has been put on season-ending IR, so obviously he's not going to play. And you got 3 guys that are questionable in Kyle Juszczyk, who's been sick, John Feliciano, who's battling some back pain, and Danny Gray, who's on the practice squad right now, and are on the IR right now, and he may not be activated, but he's got a shoulder injury. The one guy that is going to be activated is Ray McCloud. He was activated from IR. As I mentioned, Ross Dwelley, in a corresponding move, has been put on IR, so his Dwelley season comes to an end. Also, the Niners on Saturday promoted 2 players from their practice squad. Taylor Hawkins, the safety, second-year safety out of San Diego State, former corner for the Aztecs, and Jeremy McNichols, an extra running back. So let's talk a little bit about what success is going to mean in today's game. What do the Niners want to get out of this Week 18 game? Well, I think in an ideal world, you avoid all injuries. You get through all 4 quarters without injuring any extra players. And you roll into your bye week and then the playoffs relatively healthy. So that's number one. Goal number one for today to be a successful day for the Niners is avoid all injuries. Avoid injuries at all costs. And then goal number 2 is don't give away any trade secrets. I mean, maybe a vanilla game plan on both sides of the ball. There's a very high likelihood that the Niners and the Rams could meet again in the playoffs. And You want to make sure that whatever you do, you're not giving away any of your game plan for the postseason. So I think that's a big key today. You want to avoid injuries, and you want to avoid giving away any secrets. Goal number 3 is win the game. You want to keep positive momentum going. They lost to the Ravens 2 weeks ago. They bounced back with a nice win over the Commanders on the road. Now they've got the Rams, and to me, keep that momentum going is another key to success today, and another goal of Week 18. Also, I think another goal of Week 18 is to see some of the exciting young players that you really haven't seen that much of this year. Who are the guys I'd love to see? Well, I'd love to see a little bit more Elijah Mitchell and Jordan Mason, a couple running backs. Ronnie Bell. Heck, I'd love to see Tay Martin, but it's not going to happen. Robert Beal Jr., the defensive end, D. Winters, Jalen Graham, a couple of the young linebackers, Samuel Womack and Darrell Luter Jr., a couple of the young corners that the 49ers have. Taylor Hawkins, a young safety. Let's find out what he's got. If you can look at Braden Willis, take a look at Braden Willis. So I'd love to see Week 18 be an emphasis on looking at some of the younger players. I think another thing that I want to see in Week 18 is I want to see if Sam Darnold can avoid turnovers. He's played 65 games in the NFL. He's got 56 career interceptions and 36 career fumbles. Can Sam Darnold play a football game and not turn it over? History says it's unlikely. 65 career games, 56 interceptions, and 36 fumbles. I mean, this guy turns it over a lot. So I want to see if Sam Darnold can avoid turnovers. As far as, people asking what is going to be success for the 49ers, not just in Week 18, but in the playoffs, I think Brock Purdy's got to avoid picks. He's got 9 interceptions and 4 losses this year. If he could avoid turning the ball over in mass, I think that's going to help the 49ers. Dre Greenlaw is going to play in Week 18. Eric Armstead is not, but I think the health of both those guys is absolutely huge if they're going to win the Super Bowl. And then, one of the things that I'd love to see in Week 18 that I also want to see in the playoffs, the Niners have 5 young defensive backs that are going to have to play, and they're going to have to play with poise if the 49ers are going to advance to the Super Bowl and win it all. And those 5 guys are Jair Brown, who's not going to go today, Demo Lenore, Ambry Thomas, who also is not going to play today, Samuel Womack, and Darrell Luter Jr. Those 5 DBs have a ton of talent, and I think they're, especially with the injury to Verrett, the Niners are going to depend on these young defensive backs to give them something in the playoffs. And how well those guys play in the playoffs may determine if the Niners win the whole thing or not. And then offensive line has got to avoid penalties. They've got to play well. The offensive line's got to really step up and show that they're up to the challenge. Now, as far as the Rams today, let's talk a little bit about the Rams. They're one of the NFL's hottest teams. They've won 6 of the last 7. Now, interestingly enough, the Rams can clinch the NFC 6 seed with a victory, but they don't seem overly enamored with or focused on that. And the reason I say that is that Sean McVay is not going to play Matthew Stafford. He's not going to play his star running back, Kyron Williams. He's not going to play his star wide receiver, Cooper Kupp. You're not going to see Aaron Donald. You're not going to see Ernest Jones. I mean, they're basically taking their 5 best players, and they're not playing any of them. Tyler Higbee with the shoulder also was out. Joe Noteboom with the foot also out. These guys are out with injuries. And they're going with Carson Wentz at quarterback. And Wentz is another guy who's turned the ball over a ton. In 94 NFL career games, Wentz has 66 picks and 72 fumbles. So I'm sure that McVay wants to see Wentz take care of the ball, but you're going to see Wentz today. There's a milestone on the table that the Rams want to fulfill, and that's Puka Nacua, the rookie wide receiver from BYU. He's 29 receiving yards away from the all-time rookie receiving record. So I anticipate that they're going to go to Nacua early in the first quarter, get him that record, and probably take him off the field. As I mentioned, the Rams can clinch the 6th seed in the NFC with a victory, but maybe they'd rather have the 7th seed. Maybe it sounds like they'd almost rather play the Cowboys than the Lions in the playoffs. The Niners, of course, under Kyle Shanahan, have had a lot of success against the Rams in the regular season. 10-3 is what the Niners are under Shanahan against the Rams in the regular season. The Rams got the big win in the NFC Championship game the year they won the Super Bowl. Other than that, the Niners have owned the Rams. The Rams defense ranks 12th in the NFL, and they're going to run the ball in this game with Ronnie Rivers and Royce Freeman. And we'll see if Sean McVay can do to the Niners what he does to the rest of the NFC West. McVay is 24-17 against the NFC West, 21-7 against the Cardinals and the Seahawks, 3-10 against the 49ers. And then the Rams in this game are going to try to do, they're going to try to change the whole vibe around this rivalry. LA's lost 9 in a row against the Niners in the regular season. The Niners' last loss to the Rams in the regular season, you got to go back to the 2018 season. So it's been a while. It has been a long time since the Rams have had, success against the 49ers and beaten them in the regular season. So can they? We're going to find out, in this game if they can kind of change the way things have gone up to this point. Niners are 12-4, first seed in the NFC. The Rams are 9-7. They're in second place in the NFC West, and it should be a hell of a game. So I'm looking forward to it. It's once again, there's not a lot on the line for the Niners. There's not a ton on the line for the Rams, but it should be a really interesting football game just to see the way the backups play. Is Carson Wentz is he going to have a job as both Wentz and Darnold are auditioning to be starting quarterbacks in the NFL next year? Are either of them good enough in Week 18 to excite other teams around the league as to try to pursue them as free agents in the offseason? We're going to find out. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. Thanks to Mojo Fantasy for sponsoring this video. Once again, check that link in the description. Use the promo code Krug, K-R-U-E-G, and they will match you up to your first $100. And thanks to all you guys for supporting the Krug Show on YouTube.